Hello, class. Today you're listening to a very special podcast about our upcoming CSPE trip to Russborough House. Just a quick reminder that this podcast is available to download and listen to as well in audio format. So, before we begin our journey, it's always important to pause for a moment and reflect on what we will all learn on our trip to Russborough House. We will be able to understand the impact that Russborough House has on the local and national community. We will be able to explain the importance of development. We will have a deeper understanding of human dignity. We will be able to recognize cross-curricular links with other subjects. We will be able to outline our findings in a reflection sheet. Now, on our trip, there will be some extra skills that you will use. These key skills are important because there will be a lot of information to process, so managing information and thinking about that information will be important. You will also be communicating with one another. And of course, you will have paired tasks, which will mean you are working with other people. At this stage, you're wondering, why are we going? Well, it's so we can become more reflective citizens and to understand how we can take action and influence change at local, national, and on global issues. So, where is Russborough House? Well, from us in Blessington, it's only 2 kilometres away. However, we won't be getting the bus there. We will be walking the Russborough Trail. When we're walking the trail, it's important to remember this trail is a joint venture between Wicklow County Council and Russborough House. It's about 4.5 kilometres in length, and along the way we will be taking in the beautiful views of the wildlife, the lakes, and reminding ourselves the role that the CSPE concept of stewardship plays in conserving nature. So remember to take pictures. It should take us an hour max to walk, so bring rain gear and of course comfortable shoes. When we arrive, we will have a guided tour of the house. We'll visit the wonderful Bite Museum. I will give you a special worksheet which will be completed in pairs, and this will take the form of a treasure hunt. You will also have to geotag yourself to the building using your smartphone's inbuilt NFC chip. And we will visit the Bird of Prey Sanctuary, where Russborough House plays a key role in protecting endangered birds. Russborough and the local and national community are intrinsically linked. They raise money for St. James's Hospital, they're the centre for birds of prey, they host fundraisers for the arts, they also host charity runs, family dog walks, vintage car rallies, charity functions, charity cycles, and any other charitable walks. They've raised money for the Celiac Society of Ireland, they're linked with the Heritage Council of Ireland, they've hosted Culture Night, Blessington Church, the Arts Council of Ireland, the RSPCA, and many others. We can see from this that Russborough House has a massive local and national impact. We will see this from the signs dotted around the grounds, and it'll be told to us on the guided tour. This leads us on to the key concept of development. It can take place at the local community in terms of planning. It may even involve conflict. It also has to do with local government, the developing world, and any issues occurring at local, national, and global level, and we will see that Russborough House plays a key role in all 3 of these. So why is development important? Well, a lack of development leads to underdevelopment. If we take the developing world as an example, we can see that clean water, education funding, access to medicines are examples of why development is important. And when we visit the Bite Museum in Russborough House, we will see further examples of this. Development also means that we can influence change. It can involve individuals, communities influencing planning decisions. It could involve conflict, controversy, negotiation, and compromise. An example of this could be the government's refusal to take ownership of Russborough House, or indeed the sale of priceless works of art to private collectors. Now, the history behind the house is fascinating. It was commissioned to be built by Joseph Leeson, the first Earl of Milltown. If we look at his family history, we can see that the Leesons made their money through brewing alcohol, later on property speculation. In fact, they owned a vast amount of property in Dublin. But most importantly, they were Irish, and more about that later on. In fact, Leeson Street in Dublin is named after them because they owned so much of the property on that street. Joseph Leeson was an ambitious man, and he became involved in politics. In fact, he was elected to the Irish House of Commons in 1743. He was a social climber, and he was considered new money, a phrase that didn't stick with him well. So he ordered Russborough House to be built to project his wealth so the establishment could take him seriously. And this seemed to work, as in 1760 he was made the Earl of Milltown in Dublin. When the 1798 rebellion happened, it spread to Wicklow, but Russborough House wasn't touched because Joseph Leeson was not considered part of the establishment. Here in Blessington House, which is owned by the Downshires, was completely destroyed. And of course, Joseph Leeson did in fact secretly fund the rebellion. Our next person of interest is a philanthropist called Sir Alfred Lane Byte. He was a Conservative member of the British Parliament. He was an art collector, and the Byte wing of the National Gallery is named after him. The Alfred Byte Foundation and the Byte Trust are examples of his philanthropy. Because of this, he was made an honorary Irish citizen by Mary Robinson. This leads us now onto human dignity. Basic needs, developing world, poverty, education, and discrimination are all related to human dignity. The Byte Trust gives aid to Zimbabwe, Zambia, and Malawi in terms of health, education, clean water, and conservation. Now, I'm sure you're wondering, how can we learn more about this? Well, we will visit the Alfred Byte Museum, we will watch a film about his life in the 3D cinema, I kid you not. Don't worry, 3D glasses are provided. There are numerous interactive touchscreens, there are visual charts, audio listening, and of course a worksheet provided by me. Your reflection sheet will be based on your findings throughout the day. You will reflect on what you learned most about the day, new insights you gained about CSPE, and any new information you may have learned. Now, during our trip, there will be other subjects that cross links with ours. Geography will be explored on our walk to Russborough House and all the pictures that you would have taken along the way. Russborough House has a fascinating history, so therefore we'll encounter history. We'll also explore maths from the various dates on your worksheet. You'll also encounter English from the various charts and information around the house, and of course art from all the beautiful paintings that hang in Russborough House. Now that we have the green light to go, let's go back over what we're going to learn. We will all be able to understand the impact that Russborough House has on the local and national community. We will all be able to explain the importance of development. We will all have a deeper understanding of human dignity. We will all be able to recognise cross-curricular links with other subjects. And of course, we will be able to outline our findings in a reflection sheet. Now that our podcast is over, here's some pictures of me set to trap music.